Morning, YouTube. Tim from Welland here. Got my pepperoni. Got my worms. Let's go see if we can catch some fish today. Gone Fishing Friday. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to GFF, Gone Fishing Fridays. Today's setup's going to be a 5-foot ultralight. Got it from my favorite store, Canadian Tire. It's actually on clearance, $7. The reel is a Quantum. I think it was only like $20 or something like that. But anyways, anti-reverse, you know, really good drag, metal spool, pretty good setup. Don't know what I'm fishing for yet because I've never fished here before, but got a little bit of a bobber, a split shot, and a hook, and we'll see what we get. I remember one time I was fishing, it was me, my uncle, my cousin Chris, and my friend Brooke. We were fishing for trout in this trout pond, and my cousin Chris had caught a fish. My buddy Brooke was trying to be helpful, so he dove to, you know, grab the fish for him. Just as Brooke was reaching for the fish, the little trout spit out the hook. Well, my cousin still had a little bit of pressure on his line, so the hook shot entered the fish's mouth and right through my buddy Brooke's ear. I think we were probably around 12 or 13-ish around that time. Brooke's screaming in pain and stuff. He's like, I gotta go to the hospital, I gotta go to the hospital. And we're like, nah, it's not that important. I think we'll finish fishing first and then we'll take you to the hospital. Yeah, Brooke's a good friend of mine. He's had a lot of injuries though. We were skateboarding one time and he going down this little bit of a hill on a sidewalk, and there's a bit of a bump in the sidewalk. Hit the bump, Superman slide right through the air and into the ground. Boom, breaks his arm. There was another time we were, I don't know, maybe we were bad kids or whatever, but for some reason we went to one school and these kids went to another school, and we would cross paths when we were walking back to school from lunch. And I don't know how it happened, but it ended up, these kids were at one end of the pathway and we were at the other end of the pathway, and we were throwing rocks at each other. I don't know why. Brooke bent down to pick up a rock. I had one in my hand. I went to throw it. Brooke stood up, boom, right in the back of his head, split his head open, 4 stitches. Yeah, a lot of fun times. My cousin had this Honda 125. It was my first bike that I had ever had, but when I got my YZ 250, he bought the 125. I taught him how to ride and stuff. We were out playing around this field we used to go to all the time, and my buddy Brooke's like, hey Rob, let me try your bike out. Rob's like, sure. Well, we had this like berm, and we used to ramp it or whatever, you know. Sorry, I'm getting a butt. Anyways, so instead of just like, you know, going normal and like, you know, catching some air or whatever, Brooke leaves his spot, goes around, he's just, I don't even know what gear he was in, he was flying, hits this friggin' berm, went like 15 feet in the air, and this bike wasn't meant to jump. It was a Honda 125, 1978. It was a street bike sort of scrambler thing. It wasn't even like an enduro, it had crap suspension on it. He landed so hard, the suspension came up into the fender that the exhaust pipe came down. When the swing arm came up, the exhaust pipe bent from hitting the ground so hard. I don't know how his balls weren't in his throat. But yeah, I don't know. The other time we were in high school and we were well, it was lunchtime, we're gonna go skateboarding at lunchtime. There's this handrail. So he runs up, drops onto the handrail, just totally friggin', the board stuck. He kept moving, mashed his face all in and stuff. Yeah. So, Fancy Pants, you can thank me for half of Brooke's scars at least. Both physical and emotional. But seriously though, Brooke's a good dude. He'll do anything for you. Just fun telling Brooke stories. I told him I'd make mention of him in the next video, especially the hook through the ear, because the hook through the ear was funny, but the fact that we wouldn't leave to take him to the hospital was funny too. It only took them no time at all. They cut the end off with a friggin', with a pair of side cutters and just pulled it the rest of the way out, right? Like, it wasn't a big deal. It was only a small, trout hook. But talk about karma. About 3 weeks later, my cousin Chris was fishing with his mother and stepdad. They were throwing Rapellas with 2 treble hooks on it. The stepdad was getting ready to cast, and Chris bent over to grab something out of the tackle box or whatever, and boom, both treble hooks right through the cheek. They took him to the hospital right away because it was a mess. I wasn't actually there for the incident, but I've seen the after effects. They had to bend the treble hooks, cut the treble hooks, pull them all through his mouth and everything like that. It was pretty funny. Getting a few little bites here, but nothing substantial. Like I said, I've never actually fished here. I'm actually just up the river more from where I did the video about my bike and my YouTube sort of introduction video and stuff like that. But I've launched boats here and we've gone up and down the river for catfish, and there's actually a pickerel spot just up the river too. But this spot here by the dock, somebody was telling me there was crappie in here, so that's why I'm going with a super light rig with just little split shots and a little hook and stuff. But hopefully it works out. You guys can see what's moving through the water there. Well, I got a visitor. This river has a lot of water snakes. I don't know what kind of water snakes they are, because I don't know, I'm not into that kind of thing, I guess, but they are everywhere. Let's see if he can come closer. Kinda, yeah, it looks a lot bigger as it gets closer, doesn't it? I remember one time I was fishing in this pond and I had caught a fish, so I reached into the water to rinse my hands off, and as I separated my hands, freaking water snake went right in between them. Let me tell you, it scared the shit out of me. I was probably 10. Oh, sorry, I moved and spooked him a bit. Anyways, speaking of water snakes, I remember one time I was fishing with my buddy Terry. We were at this place called 12 Mile Creek, or was it Martindale Pond? Sorry, 12 Mile Creek drains into Martindale Pond in St. Catharines. So we were actually fishing with jigs. I cast it out and I'm reeling it, and then boom, I got something on. I'm like, what the heck? I reel it in, it's a friggin' water snake. Probably about the same size as that guy, about, that big. So I got this thing on, I'm holding it in the air with my rod sticking right out, and we're both like, what the hell do we do now? I'm like, I don't know what to do. So we ended up holding it down with a stick, and I took pliers and stuff like that, because I've seen it happen. The water snakes seem pretty docile and whatever, but they will bite. I don't think they're poisonous around here, but they do bite and they do have teeth. So we got it off, it was fine. I don't know what it was thinking. Maybe it went after my jig, but it was actually a good clean hook set right through the mouth. Well, YouTube, this place is sucking today. Then again, I don't know if maybe it sucks every time because I've never been here before, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I'm going to go down to the infamous piranha pond and see if I can't catch some fish. Should be able to. Thousands of them there. But I'm going to fish with a twist. It's not just going to be normal rod or whatever, but you guys will have to wait and see what I'm doing. So, I'll see you guys soon. Hello, YouTube. Welcome down to the infamous pond. Like I said, fishing regularly would be way too easy. So I was going to fish with a twist. I'm going to try to use cheese twists and a wooden stick so as to make it not be so easy. So let's give it a shot and see what happens. Oh, I lost it. Hard part is keeping the cheesies on the hook. See how simple fishing can be? Bait a carp, caught with a stick, a piece of fishing line, and a hook. Carp number 2. Anyways, YouTube, in total I caught 5 in 10 minutes. Forgot to turn the camera back on for some of them. So you guys got to see 2. You got to see me miss 1 or 2. 3 things I've learned. You can use a stick and a hook for fishing. The second thing I've learned is fishing with cheesies is dirty. And the third thing I learned is fishing with cheesies means you get a free snack. So anyways, I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Gone Fishing Friday. Or maybe I should just rename it Gone to Talk About Fishing Friday, because I don't seem to catch a lot. So anyways, YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week for another episode of Gone Fishing Fridays. Thank you. Couldn't end my video like that, so you guys want to see fish? Let's see some fish. The evil piranhas, I mean sheephead and carp.